Hi everybody, John here. Happy New Year, happy 2024. And you're probably wondering what this is because I said Frog Wrestling was taking a break, and here's some Frog Wrestling for you. But last night I did a stream to kind of ring in the new year. The plan was to go for, well, until it became New Year's here where I live. And during that time, I gave everybody an opportunity to pick what they wanted to see. And one of the most recommended, most asked for things was a frog wrestling match. And not just any frog wrestling match, but it was requested that people had to see a New Year's Eve brawl between Ben Bumhoffer, aka Spider Ben, and Dan Patrice, aka Geekjock, I guess, in a Hell in a Cell match. And look, it was New Year's Eve. Who am I to deny people what they asked for? But as it was kind of a spontaneous special event, I knew I had to get this out on YouTube in a place where other people can see it, because this is an officially sanctioned frog wrestling match. So, without further ado, I present to you the clip from last night and the match in its entirety of the Hell in a Cell match between Spider Ben and Dan Patrice. Enjoy. All right, predictions up. Hell in a Cell match. Dan versus Ben for our special New Year's Eve brawl. Let's get right into it. Let's see what's going on. It was requested, this match specifically, Dan versus Ben in a Hell in a Cell match. A hot request. Let's get right into it. Let's find out what's happening. People are voting. The votes are coming in. There's our cell.
The following is a Hell in a Cell match.
I know you all requested this at the free preview, but you know what? We got to get to it. We're getting to it tonight. New Year's Eve. A special frog wrestling brawl in the new year. And the most requested match we had, because two of you wanted it, was this. Oh, you requested it for tonight? Oh, well, even better. Look at that. Look at me fulfilling stuff.
Look at the focus and drive in his eyes. Ready to prove he's the best this division has to offer.
I mean, Dan is a madman, you guys. You saw what he did at the Royal Rumble. No doubt about it. Dan can go. He was the winner of our Royal Rumble. His rivalry with Ben may have cost both of these men the Dragon Beef Championship. And right now, really impressive, the predictions for this match are almost perfect 50-50. Currently, oh, nope, Ben jumped up. I'm not going to say it because Ben just jumped up. Ben is in the lead, prediction-wise now. But it's still very close.
A man who elevates his game every week. He is competing at his highest level yet.
Spider Ben versus the Geek Jock Dan in a cell. No fear of interference, no funny business. Hopefully no technical issues. We may finally get a clear-cut winner between these two.
The door is locked, and the only way to get out of Hell in a Cell is
Both have had surprising individual success, but they have struggled in matches against one another. Right now, Ben taking control of Dan who did a little too much gloating after just a single move. Really left an opening for Ben to take advantage here. And now Ben is making Dan pay for it. We got an early pin. We might have a short match. No, only a 1 count.
These pins to last much longer at this stage in the match.
And Dan getting back involved. Ben with a good reversal, though, going to escape before Dan can do whatever it was he was planning. Ben back in control of the match now.
Kicks right to the midsection. Opponent dropped in the corner.
And if you remember the Dragon Beef title match, it looked like Dan had an opportunity to win that. He had a chair, he had a clear shot at Kyle, but he was only focusing on Ben. If he had taken that shot on Kyle, he might have won. Instead, he waited. And now he's getting a chair out, looking to rehash old history, but Ben doesn't want any part of that. He just throws Dan to the ground. There's Dan back in the ring, and now Ben getting a weapon of some kind. Ben has decided to get a table. We now have a chair and a table in the ring, and Ben's not done. He's looking for more. He's got a sledgehammer. We got a lot of weapons in the ring. So far, no weapons used, but an arsenal has been placed in this ring, making it even more dangerous. And there's a third just drop right on the stomach for Dan. Ben has that chair. Oh, a swing and a miss. Ah, not that time, though. You can't keep Ben down. A miss followed by 2 hits, and Ben is not done. Now going after Dan even more. Dan trying to escape, trying to use the ropes to block the chair shots. Ben just going to bring him right back into the ring. And after multiple chair shots, Ben going for another pin. Another 1 count. Dan showing great resiliency here, but Ben very much in control of the match.
Look at this, just unloading.
And right now, Ben has been in complete control of this match. A early offense from Dan, quickly shut down. And Ben is fighting like somebody who has something to prove, but there's a good reversal by Dan. And Ben crawling to the corner, dazed, as he got kneed right in the face. And now Dan looking to make use of that chair. He does. And getting back in the ring, knocks that chair loose, but Dan quickly applies a submission hold on Ben. Caught Ben as he was coming through the ropes. Ben manages to escape, though, staying alive. And now Ben trying to regain control before this derails any further. Chair gets picked up again, and another chair shot. Dan has been just repeatedly bashed with that chair. And a big reversal from Dan. Oh. Good counter from Ben, and a huge clothesline, knocking Dan right back down. Ben has been extremely impressive this entire match. Like I said, he certainly has more to prove than Dan. And he just, oh my goodness, he just threw Dan right over the ropes into the cage. You just hear him bouncing off the metal. Oh, and a collision with the referee. Referee's still standing. We got more resilient referees here in Frog Wrestling. But Dan is managing to build a bit of an offense here. And Dan going for a pin, seeing if he can get him. No, only gets a 1, and Ben has escaped. Comes back into the ring. Dan's ready for him, though. Oh, and another one of those elbows just to the back of the head. And Dan has been targeting Ben's head this entire match. Now he's targeting it with a chair. Ben manages to roll out of the way, knocks the chair loose. And Ben with another toss. We've seen Dan targeting Ben's head, and Ben has been doing most of his damage to Dan's back.
Cracking the head. Turned that around.
Which strategy will win out? We're gonna have to just wait and see. Dan currently on the offensive right now, goes off the top, and there is that curb stomp that he has used to put so many people away. He gets a 2, Ben kicks out before the 3, and Dan is left trying to figure out what he needs to do to put Ben down, and he's gonna use Ben's own move, the Spirit Powerbomb. Ben kicks out. A curb stomp and his own move, and Ben is still fighting. Dan coming back from behind. Ben fighting. Big uppercut on the outside. And Dan, lying in wait, goes after him. And right now, we're just getting an exchange. Uppercuts as they go back and forth across the steps. Just an uppercut followed by an uppercut. Ben almost came out on top, but Dan reversed it and throws Ben to the floor. For the longest time, this looked like Ben's match to lose. But Dan has done a lot of damage here, and they are continuing this uppercut spree. Another one. Just a back and forth trading of blows, a real testament to this rivalry that's been building. Just throws Dan to the ground. They're still fighting on the outside. Another uppercut.
Into the ring again.
And Dan decides to break the cycle, gets back in the ring, throwing a bit of a fit. And Ben gets in and just punches the shit out of him. My goodness. There's no other way to describe that move. There's a pinfall. Only gets a 2. But Dan has to be feeling that in his stomach. And another one of these massive blows across the chest. Dan's chest and back has got to be feeling it right now. Dan's still fighting, though. Throws Ben against the ropes, looking to see what happens. Dan misses with his clothesline, and Ben stops the momentum. We have a bit of a reset, but Dan finding a way to fight back. A series of blows of his own, and Ben is down. Dan going up to the top turnbuckle. He's calling for it. He smells blood in the water, and he goes off the top. A huge clothesline. Oh, but Ben with a reversal. He's back to his feet.
What these athletes have been putting each other through. Absolutely pushing each other beyond any normal human's limits.
And right now, it has just been a non-stop back and forth. It looks like Dan is going for the curb stomp again. He lands it. 1, 2, 3. And Dan, after a vicious back and forth, pulls off the win.
Here's your winner, Dan Patrice. Guys, it's rare we see such a closely contested match.
We really saw what these competitors are made of here tonight.
Especially the winner.
What a match. Dan managing to pull out the win right at the very end. An incredible New Year's Eve event to see. You love to see it. incredible match. Dan has not lost to Ben, at least in one-on-one, although that is the first clean victory that Dan has had against Ben so far. All the other victories come with a little asterisk next to it. And Dan has finally been able to put a punctuation mark on this rivalry, at least for now. Is Ben done? Is Ben out? We're going to have to wait and see. But for this special edition New Year's Eve brawl, Dan has certainly come out on top. So that is exciting to see. Thank you, everybody, for asking for that match. I hope you all enjoyed it. I think that was a fun one to do as a bit of a special edition tonight.